We on. Finally. After how long? You don't know. You wasn't here. You hadn't been here. I think it's been a month since we've been on here, maybe even longer. Uh, I'm John Myers, and this is the local law enforcement hour, and I'm joined by Chad Moore. And Chad is the 911 director for our 911 office here in Lawrenceburg, Lawrence County.
Yes, sir.
All the above,
All
right?
the above. Glad to be here with you.
Hey, so we got a lot of stuff to cover over a short amount of time, and I've just been sitting here going through some of my emails and looking at pictures on my phone, just trying to jog my memory a little bit about what's been going on here in the past month because it seems like it's been a month since we've been on here. And I tell you, I've had a lot going on.
Yes, sir.
I had eye surgery again. And that's the reason why I'm squinting. If people are on here wondering why I'm squinting, it's because I had a cataract removed off my right eye because I had a retina detached back in January, and they fixed it. So I'm still just a little bit squinty, and I'm getting. And they don't tell you this when you have have you ever had cataract
Never
surgery?
had it.
So they don't tell you this when you have cataract surgery. So basically, what they do is they take the natural lens that's in your cornea and they take it out, and they put in this artificial one. Well, it's got a prescription in there. So your vision for the first time in 25 years, I can see great now. Except I got to have readers for up close stuff. But what they don't tell you is you get a reflection off lights. Like I'm getting one right now. And if you drive at night, they even give you a card, by the way, too. So if you get stopped by law enforcement and they're and you can show them, hey, I've got corrective lenses in this eye, but it's cataracts.
Well, it didn't cost you a DUI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this driving at night, and I got me some glasses ordered. It's supposed to be anti-glare glasses, but every light at night's got a halo around it. And if you can imagine coming up Main Street in Lawrenceburg at night and the pavement's wet, it's just it's not easy.
It's glaring at you.
Yeah, you got to be careful. But yeah, I got that fixed, and other than that, it's been pretty good, man. I got asked. Well, I get asked all the time, but I got asked over the weekend. How's things going at the sheriff's department? And I always tell them I got zero complaints, none right now. Things are running really good.
Yeah.
How's things at your office?
Same way. I tell folks all the time I've got the greatest job in Lawrence County. Me and you may argue about that, who's got the
Yeah, I
greatest
say
job.
the same thing.
But I do it. Listen, I look forward to going to work every single day. I love going to work. We love trying to assist folks and help folks. And man, I got a great group of folks who work down there at 911. And I do. Everybody I speak to, I tell them I've got the greatest job in Lawrence County.
Yeah.
And I believe that.
Well, it's working. Now, when did you take over there, Chad?
So I've been there about 4.5 years. I've been at 911, been a director there, and again, I was on the board for a long time. You and I served on the 911 board together, and uh, we believe in getting to work on time, and we believe in showing up when you're supposed to be there, and not being late. And Captain Groom, good to see
Was you late or was you tardy?
Well, that sandwich don't work too well.
Come on, man.
Goodness,
You'd rather be playing golf than he'd be here?
I'm still about 260 with it, so
260 with what?
sandwich.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you should be playing at the U.S. Open.
No,
If you can hit a sand wedge 260,
they don't allow my handicap.
we're not gonna badmouth you the whole time because you're late. Everybody knows who you are. You're captain of the Lawrenceburg Police Department.
Yes, sir.
And go on ahead and say your disclaimer because we need to get that out of the way.
I got good company today. He's technically a boss, so I got to get this right.
I'm not a
So,
boss.
So as everyone knows, my name's Blake Grooms. I'm a captain with Lawrenceburg Police Department. I've got opinions and views, and then my opinions and views are those of my own. In no way, shape, or form are they to be the opinions and views of Lawrenceburg Police Department or the city of Lawrenceburg.
Or the city of Lawrenceburg. I could almost say that for you. I've heard it so many times. Maybe I'll do that next time.
I bet you do. It gets old. So anyways.
Should I say that too?
With you being a boss, I don't think you.
I'm not a boss.
You're elected.
Listen, golly.
Elected. He wishes. He wishes he was elected.
Good, man. How about you?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good. Lord's blessed us. Kids are growing, and
Did you get wet playing golf a while ago?
I wished I was playing golf.
You wasn't
So
playing
my
golf.
belt. Listen to this, and that's what I get for driving a Chevy. my belt has tangled or gotten warped or something in my back rear window. And come to find out, it'd have been better if my window motor would have just blown up because they're easier to order and get in. They never have problems with belts, so they're a little bit harder.
You talking about your sliding glass window in the
No, I'm
back?
talking my back passenger window.
Oh, I got you.
I can hit the button and it'll go, it'll make its noise, but you hear the belts in there. I don't
Oh.
know.
So-
Yeah.
Sounds like something you need to take to a professional.
Yeah.
Shade tree mechanic.
No, hey, I never said I'm a mechanic. But anyways, glad to have you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
He was just talking a little bit about 911. We were talking about when he started. Right before we went on, we were talking about when 911. See, for people that don't know, and I don't think you do because you was still
He wasn't
eating.
even
He
alive
was still
when that-
eating
yeah.
his Lucky Charms, watching Bugs Bunny on Saturday mornings. But when I started, dispatch was at the sheriff's department,
For
and
the county.
dispatch was at the city police department, because we're the two biggest entities in the county, right? So they had their own dispatchers, and we had our own dispatchers. And I can remember the office was right next to the jailer's office where I worked. Sherry Dixon, the one, she just retired,
Yeah,
what,
not long ago, yeah.
year or two ago. She worked over there. Doreen Luna was one of them. Roger Casagrande was one of them. I can't remember all of them. Lonnie Box that
Yeah.
works here, he was a dispatcher over there. And it was really simple. They sat there with a notepad and a log, and they had a microphone similar to this with a red button that they pushed, and they had some control panels out here, and they had a couple of radios, and they had what looked like the bat phone, which was the 911 phone there. And
And had a clipboard and pen, and they wrote everything.
yeah, there wasn't
Yeah.
computer screens and stuff,
And
and
phones had cords.
they had cord. They had one phone in the house, and they had one cord, and they had a cord that was like 80 feet long, so you could take it down the hallway, and you'd have to go in there and fight your sister to get it because she was talking to her boyfriend. But anyway, they that's how it operated. And then we were what
97.
97. I
Yeah.
knew it was close to that time. They joined
They
and
joined.
formed the 911. So what's the difference now compared to what it was back then?
Well, I think it's a lot better, honestly. 94, you had the county, you had the city, and now it's all under one roof in one building. And we've got operators that know what the sheriff's department's doing, what the city's doing, what EMS is doing, fire's doing, and you got a wreck, and we know who all's going and who's there and who's not there. And 911 rings in that building. The folks who answered are the folks who are dispatching, and so we call it consolidated, and we do that for a reason, because when you integrate all those things together, knowledge is power, and the fact that the same folks in the same room know what everybody's doing is a great service for the citizens of Lawrence County, and it's been proven that it works. Not every county has consolidated. Not everybody's that way. But man, it works for us. And so, it's a good deal. You got a deputy on 4th Street serving a warrant in the city of Lawrenceburg, and something goes on. You've got the city operator for 911 sitting in the room who can get you a city officer.
Right then and there.
And you got to pick up the phone and call across the street and try to find them. So, it works well.
So, how many dispatchers have you got on duty?
So right now there's 5 sitting in a room, and that's the maximum we can have. I've got 5 consoles. I've got 5 spots for a dispatcher to sit, and so we've got 2 that are doing call take just because of the hour. It's our busiest time of the day. It's when we get the most calls of the day. And then we've got 1 operator that's solely dedicated to the sheriff's department frequency. We've got 1 operator solely dedicated to the city of Lawrenceburg frequency, and the other operator will handle all fire and EMS calls.
Gotcha.
About how many calls do y'all typically take each month?
Well, let me go day with you, because I went to Lawrence County, and my math isn't great sometimes. But
His math
Well, he took algebra in 3rd grade, so he can probably help you.
no, but we average about 45 911 calls in a 24-hour period.
So that is strictly 911
That
calls.
is-
That's not counting That's not counting welfare checks, dog traffic.
So
that's
we're
just
going to average
normal.
about 140 non-emergency calls in a 24-hour period. So we average the phone rings on an average about 180 times in a 24-hour period. Now I got 5 in the room right now, but earlier today before lunch we had 3 in the room. We had a traffic accident on Buffalo Road today. That. And bottom line, I've got city going. We had county officers who happened to be in the area. We've got fire and EMS. The state troopers drove by and saw it, and troopers then
Helped
were
out
on
a little
the scene.
bit. Yeah, that we were right behind it. We didn't know what had happened. Well-known individual passed away, and that I just talked to him Friday
Yeah.
at a gathering and said hello to him. Great person. Is such a tragic. Is it me, or has this been the year for tragic accidents?
Yeah.
Was it last week or the week before we had the man that got killed from the tire that exploded?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the business owner here. Not was it this year or late last year that was cutting the tree and the limb came down and hit him and killed him?
Yeah.
Out there with a chainsaw. Good friend of mine, Mike Reisner. I mean, he gets a cough, and in 4 days he's passed away with pneumonia. I don't know what.
Yeah, and listen, we tell our folks all the time, and you try to tell your kids and folks you love the most that you love them when you see them, because we're never promised tomorrow. We do not know.
Life is short.
Life
man.
is short, man. It sure is. And unfortunately for us who surround this table, we see it every single day, and we see people at their worst, at their worst times, and that's why I'm thankful to have folks like you on our team that are out serving the public. I'm thankful for folks like y'all.
Oh.
No, you and again,
He's talking about me.
yeah.
So you say averaging 180 calls. Now
That's,
is that
5,400.
is that calls for service coming in through the telephone line only?
That is correct. Yeah, that is.
So you have to add what my guys and what the city police department and the other municipalities, they're during that time they're stopping cars,
Traffic
they're
stops.
running warrant checks, they're running DLs, they're running stolen guns and stolen property, and on top of the 180 calls for service that comes through on the telephone.
Every bit of that goes through my operator sitting in a room, and anything from, hey, I've got a dog barking too loud on such and such street. I'm about to say a street name. I want to be careful.
I can give you a 5.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
I can probably name the street.
I'm about to say a street name. But to a welfare check of an individual sitting on the sidewalk or walking down the middle of Locust Avenue, and and then and the reality is, even though we've consolidated for the most part. If you're working and you're here making a traffic stop, for the most part, you don't know what the county's got going on.
A lot of the times. That's right.
We call it signal one. Y'all may be on a hot call, sheriff, and you ceased all radio traffic, and and then you do need some help, and the city's out making a traffic stop, and it's tying up another operator, and there's time we've built the relationship that we can say, hey, stand by just a few minutes. We've got this going on. And so it works.
Has there been any talk that you know of? Because in reality, the only law enforcement agency that works in our county that we don't have direct contact with is Highway Patrol. Has there been any discussion about maybe giving us the ability to contact them through their frequency?
So I think you can get on the state network. I don't know that we can afford to get on the state network. They do have that radio service, and I know that it's out there. I'm not sure we have the ability to do that at this point.
Well, I know we've given the sheriff's department, we've given 4 or 5 of our handsets to the local troopers in our area, so they can contact us if they need some assistance without going through their dispatch and having their dispatch call our dispatch, and then having our dispatch call our guys over the radio and say, hey, you need to go 2 miles down the road. There's a trooper down there that's got a guy that's that he's having to go hands on.
And that's where it has to work right now.
I know.
Again, a trooper's in distress. He's going to key up on his radio. It's going to hit Nashville or Jackson, and their dispatch will then pick up the phone and make a telephone call to Lawrence County. We'll then take the phone call, process it, send one of y'all to wherever their location is, and at that point, the fight's probably over.
It
Yep.
probably is.
Yeah. I wish we could get that figured out where we could have some direct contact with them, and not have to go through their. Don't they have like a super high speed
They
low
do.
net or
Oh, yeah.
something
Yeah.
compared
Yeah,
to?
somebody in Memphis can talk to somebody in Bristol
That is correct.
Mhm.
just by queuing up on the radio. It's
What's
crazy.
the difference in that and ours? How can they do that and we can't?
Money?
Money.
Money.
Well,
Yes,
I mean, does it work off towers like ours does
Mhm.
too?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we need to get something with our state representatives to enact something, allow some funding since they're beefing up the highway patrol. Maybe they can put a little money out there to where the communication can be. Because I've said it. Uh, I think the governor wants 1,600 troopers in the state before he's out of office. I think he's up around 1,200 maybe. I don't know. He's got that number in his head from what I've been told, and that's what he wants in there before he gets out of office. That's going to 95 county, which the majority of them's going to go to Shelby County and Davidson County
Right.
because of all the problems and the population and the call volume. But and I think they had 4 or 5 in our area that was 10-8 working the other day, and I'd like to be able to call them on the radio, and when I've only got 3 or 4 deputies working, and say, hey, can you back us up over here on this call? Put them on the call
Yeah.
call out.
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, not tying your hands, ballpark, what would it take to be on a massive wide low band like the Highway Patrol for our area?
Shelton Barnett, who's EMA, has talked to me several times about that and looked at it, and he's tried to get some grants and stuff, but he estimates it probably be somewhere between 8 and 10 million.
Really? Just for our county?
Mm-hmm. Just for Lawrence County.
That's a drop in the bucket
I mean,
to
is
our
that
state
not
budget.
something
Correct.
maybe our local commission?
That's that rainy day. That's that rainy
Yeah.
day fund the state's got.
Yeah.
No, it's our state
Well,
reps.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
that's
that's
something good.
for it.
I got a good relationship with our state reps. I'll mention that and see if they can put that on next year's list of stuff to do. But what about our funding? Now our funding is still city pays half, we pay half. County and city share the cost of
So-
911,
So
right?
the way that works is, again, we've got 3 avenues of funding. One is the city of Lawrenceburg funds us. Lawrence County government funds us. They are about $350,000 a year is what they pay into that. And then we get what's called the 911 cell phone tariff. And if you look at your cell phone bill, anybody that's got a cell phone bill pays a tariff. I think it's $1.47 a month is what's on that. There's an act right now in the state legislature. In fact, the Senate passed it, but the House tabled it. Of course, they're out of session right now. I think they'll pick it back up to raise the cell phone tariff, I think, to $1.56 or something. But if they do that, and I have asked our folks to support it, again, we didn't get a whole lot of support locally on the Senate level, but it did pass the Senate. I'm been assured it'll probably pass the House, but that's going to give us, $200,000 more a year at 911 every year, reoccurring in Lawrence County.
That would that could get a couple more dispatchers.
Sure, absolutely, and it could help us do some things and equipment wise and those
Right.
sorts of deals.
So, what's the best thing you think you've got going at dispatch?
My people.
Your people.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're only as good as your people. Technology is technology. You dial 911, as long as technology works, for the most part, I can ping where you are. But if I don't have the folks sitting in the seat who can process a call, who can be level-headed, who can use a little common sense, and then dispatch it, and then provide protection for my officers. And I had somebody tell me the other day, well, I've never had a dispatcher save an officer ever.
That's not true.
Well, and listen, while we've never been on the road with them, we've never been in the car with them, and never provided backup for them. if we do our job right, we can sure give you some information that can protect you and help you
Oh, sure.
as you go along the journey.
Information's key in this line
And
of
it's
work.
happened time and time again. So that was a loaded question. I just wanted to see if you would give us the right answer, and you did. And because the reason that was a loaded question,
They
is
may be
because-
watching.
right. That's right. Especially certain somebody that listens to us every now and then.
Yeah.
What's funny is what it may not be funny, but he's got a mixed bag of dispatchers over there.
Oh yeah, it's like
And-
Skittles.
And
Are
and
you
you'll get one on there that's a country. They sound like they just left the holler.
Elmer Fudd,
And
baby.
then
I
you'll
mean,
get the next one on there that's super, that's very direct and very, that's every 10 codes right, and they got a little bit of an accent, and they sound real professional. And then
and then
you'll
I got
keep-
the repeater. She repeats everything you say to her. You know.
Right.
and
And,
then you'll
uh,
key up a little while later and need something, and you'll get Joe Bob back on there, and it's
Yeah.
it's great. But I mean, yeah,
And then if you do something you know you shouldn't over the radio, you'll get a key up from an individual, and she'll politely take you to school over the air, and you'll be like, I ain't gonna do that again. No, you're right. You got a good group up there, and I ain't just saying it because we're on the air or we're being taped. But that I don't see how someone could say a dispatcher has never saved a police officer's life, because I tell you time and time again, especially like going to a domestic. Or going to an unknown emergency call, which in our world, I mean, it could be anything. I mean, you could be showing up to a gunfight, or you could be showing up to a barking dog. But what I absolutely love, number one, is when I ask your dispatchers for information, I get it.
Well, you better.
The number two best thing I like about your dispatchers is after I get my information, and I'm on my way to that call, I can't tell you how many times, time after time after time, I'll hear my number come on the radio, and I'll key up and tell dispatch to go ahead, and be like, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
back in October, back in September, back in June, this, and this happened. Information that I didn't ask for, that has been beneficial. So, can't tell you-
yeah, they don't have to go back through a log anymore.
right.
And
It's on the
yeah,
computer
I
now.
can call over there and say, hey, look at this address, 5480 whatever Stevens Road, and see what we've been there for, and you get it in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
6-8 seconds.
Yeah.
They punch it up and it's right there, and they say, well, last time you was out there, you dealt with the brother-in-law so and so, and he had a gun. So you can get all this information real time. We was also talking before you got here about response times. What's a response time now compared to 20 years ago?
Well, obviously it's better, and really depends on where you live. You live in the city limits of Lawrenceburg, and just based on the size and officers, in town, you got a pretty quick response time for the most part. You call and you need a call of service for a police officer, probably they're there within 3 to 7 minutes, give or take, somewhere in there.
That's fair.
You live in Iron City, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get down that way.
Yeah.
Especially if we've had a hot call in the north end in Summertown, and you've had to have every one of your deputies respond to the north end, and then we get a call in the south end. It takes a little time, especially to get through town.
People don't know how big this county
That is
is
correct.
until they went to all four corners. There, a friend of mine had a opening at a restaurant in St. Joe 2 weeks ago, and most people know I live in Summertown. What's 40 minutes?
Mhm.
40 minutes to get from my house to St. Joe, same county. 40 minutes to get there.
Well,
Just
listen,
driving
there-
normal, getting through traffic.
There's 1,041 miles of road in Lawrence County, Tennessee.
Really.
1,041 miles. It takes a long time to cover
and
1,041
what are
miles.
we? 560 square
Well,
miles.
that's what I was fixing to ask you. I think we're 57 miles tall
I think so.
and 28 miles wide.
You just come to the numbers just
I'm
appear
just
to
trying
you.
to do the math.
Do a little
okay?
Googling before you say
Okay.
something and we get a call on it.
So anyway, but no, I mean, and you know, especially talking to somebody who's over dispatch, our listeners may not have a clue. You gave the prime example. If they're in Summertown, let's just go with that. It's 57 miles tall. Okay, we got a call in Summertown. All of our people are up there. We then boom get a call in Iron City. If we are truly 57 or 50 something miles wide, going the speed limit, it will take you over an hour to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't until, you know, just, I wouldn't say too long ago that actually, you know, popped in my mind like, oh my gosh, is that really the truth? But yes, if you're in Summertown, you got to go to Iron City, you're looking at an hour.
I've driven it a bunch.
With
Yeah.
traffic, you know.
Well, I've driven it blue lights and sirens going to a priority call. Back when I was a deputy answering calls, I can remember it plain as day. You take Buffalo Road all the way down and hit West Gaines and take West Point Road, and that's a long,
It's a
curvy,
long-
dangerous road, and it takes a while to get down there. But I mean,
And believe it or not, people still don't get out of the way of lights and sirens in
No,
town.
they don't.
well,
That's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother
yeah, and it's hard. It's hard not to get frustrated, but I'm guilty of it too. And I'm gonna tell you a quick little story. So I'm coming down, and car
Hold on.
this is my excuse.
Disclaimer: he doesn't have.
I don't
little
don't
stories
need
here.
a
He don't.
disclaimer.
He has no quick
So,
stories.
in other people's defense, it's a bright sunny day, right? It's harder to see blue lights on a bright sunny day. I'm going up Highway 43, coming through Etheridge, minding my own business. I'm in the left-hand lane. I'm going around, gradually going around some slower traffic. And I got the radio up, got the air conditioner roaring. It's a hot summer day, and
Not
I'm
on your cell phone, though.
not on my cell
Yeah.
phone. No, I'm just getting around some slower traffic. Was I'm coming up to make my pass around, I see him start to dive off and hit the shoulder. And I'm going, what are these idiots doing? And then I look and I see one of my deputies parked off the side of the road running radar. And as I'm going by, I'm looking at my deputy. At the time, these other cars are starting to get off the shoulder, and I'm looking at him like, what are you looking at? And he's giving me the stink eye. One of my deputies is giving me the stink eye on the shoulder.
It happen often.
And I'm like, what the heck? And I look up, and there's an ambulance right on my bumper. And I flipped the radio off, and I got off the shoulder, and they were giving me the stink eye when they went by.
And the air horn.
Yeah,
And that air horn.
Yeah, just
Oh, yeah.
laying on it.
Did they give you anything?
And I'm
else?
thinking, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't hear you. I had the radio up, you know, it's bright and sunny, air conditioner's roaring. Make it worse, I look, and here comes my deputy. Doesn't know my truck, doesn't know my POV. So I pull over. He pulls up behind me. As soon as he gets out, he's my training lieutenant. I won't say his name. It's my training lieutenant. He comes walking up. You can tell he's mad. You know, he's got his sunglasses on, but you can see him grimacing. Got his jaws all locked up. I rolled down the window and I let him get up to about my back bumper, and I said, "You are fired." And he stops and he rubbernecks around there, and I said, "Yeah, you're fired." And he was just about to unload on me. And he looks and he just puts his head down. I said, "Go clean out your crap. Go clean out all your crap, turn in all your property, go to purchase and get settled up on your payroll. You're fired." He said, "Sheriff," he said, "why did you scoot over at that?" And I said, "I didn't see it, didn't hear it, had everything going." In my defense, it was a bright sunny day. So I'm telling you this story to say,
It happens.
don't get mad at people when it's bright and sunny and it's in the summer and they got their air conditioner on and their radio turned up.
But if it's at night,
If it's at night, no excuse.
all right, gotcha.
Okay. I'll try to keep
You
that
got
in mind.
that?
All right. If it's at night, there's no excuse. Or if it's kind of late in the afternoon. I'm just saying when the sun's all the way up. I mean, you think about cars now, how airtight they are, how aerodynamic and airtight. I mean, the window stripping in some of these cars is as big as that cup, you know?
Hey, and there are times that, listen, you can hear a siren based on the time of day and the way the wind's blowing,
Right.
probably a little better than other times too. So I'll go with that.
See there? I bet
Great
you
story,
learned
Sheriff.
something.
Great story.
It was a great story. Started off with idiots, and then it ended up. Let me tell you, I'm the topic of this story, and then it went into so it could happen to anybody. Yeah, good story.
So let's tell the viewers. Let's give the viewers some examples of when they should call the non-emergency number, the 0450 number, compared to the 911 emergency number.
Yeah, and that's a number everybody needs to, right now, you need to take out your cell phone and put this number in your cell phone and label it as dispatch, okay? Lawrence Central Dispatch, what are you going to, 762-0450. And that keeps our 911 lines open, which is really important. You know, there are times that we get so many calls based on a wreck or an incident. Probably the latest incident happened, you know, a year or two ago, when it was, they had what they thought was the active shooter at Heine's. We had so many 911 calls that night. Our 911 calls, if they're not answered, somebody's got to answer them. Okay, so they roll. Well, they roll to Giles County. Well, Giles County's answering the 911 calls of a shooter, you know, at Heine's Barbecue. So again, it's important to keep our 911 lines open in the event that it's a true emergency. So I tell folks all the time. I speak to elementary schools and middle schools all the time. If you're not sure it's an emergency, dial 911. My folks will let you know if it's an emergency or not. And we have folks who call, and we'll kindly ask them, would you care to hang up and call us back on the non-emergency line, so we can keep our 911 lines open. But you know, listen, if you've got a dog barking, as much as that is irritating to you, probably that is not a 911 call. It doesn't constitute an emergency. You know,
Wreck. What about a wreck?
A wreck.
Yeah, I mean, it may not look that bad. There's a couple of cars kind of damaged, and you see some people walking around. That
Yeah,
911
that's
call?
911
That's a
call.
911 call all day.
You know, you got a wreck in the Walmart parking lot, you backed into a buggy stall or into another car in the parking lot, that's probably not a 911 call. You know, but yeah, you're on the roadway and you've got a wreck, that's a 911 call. And then, you know, we're going to ask you a couple of questions. Are they hurt? Do you have airbag? You know, if it's an airbag deployment, it's automatic send for EMS and fire. If you don't have airbag deployment and you tell us you're all right, then we're going to send you law enforcement. You know, we call that a 45, a 1045. And so we're going to send law enforcement to come work your wreck at that point. You know, you're going home today and you see a guy walking down the road and, you know, he's got blood all over him carrying a machete. That's probably a 911 call, you know.
Anytime you see blood.
Yeah, that's
Anytime
a
you see
911 call.
blood, that's a
Call
911 call.
You see a guy walking down the road and he just looked out of place and you think you want a deputy to check him out. Don't know why, but you just got an uneasy feeling. That's not a 911 call. That's an 0450 call. And we'll still send you a deputy. We'll still get you help. It just keeps our 911 lines open. But I tell folks all the time, if you're not sure, go ahead and dial 911. We're going to get you the help you need. And we may kindly ask you to call back to keep our, you know, 911 trunks open. But yeah, if you're unsure, dial 911.
Well, see, the reason we're asking you these questions, and you'd be proud of us, believe it or not, time and time again on this show, we've told our listeners exactly what you just told us. But each time that we have an expert come on that specializes in these areas that we talk about from time to time, it's always nice for the public.
Did you look up expert in a dictionary before this show?
Well, we need a raise. I'll talk
Yeah, he
about that
did.
later.
There's a picture of me.
Yeah. but no, I mean, so, is this the first time you've been on the show?
First time, yeah.
Okay, so, so whenever it comes to this world,
First time I've probably been in company like this too. Well, I'm honored.
see, it's not just me.
Yeah, I'm honored.
But yeah, I mean, we tell our listeners this stuff, and I think it's nice for them to hear an echoed version of what we've been telling them all along, so they just know that I'm not just an idiot that helps him talk on the radio.
Sure. No. And listen, we get called, if I'm honest, and you know this because y'all deal with it every single day of your life too, that you're on duty. We get calls that after we get off the phone, we want to bang our heads against the wall. And if we're honest, we really don't want to give you the call because we know you're going to sit in that car and say, are you kidding me? You've given me this call? The whole time we're going in our mind, I'm sorry, I've got to do this.
Oh, yeah.
And give it out. You know, it's like any other job. We deal with those sorts of things, but we still want to be professional. And we still want to deal with it and give it out. You know,
I think I've even talked to a couple of your dispatchers about not dispatching my deputies to a certain individual's house for a for a certain reason. You could probably figure it out in 3 guesses.
Yeah.
But she got on a tear there for a while where she was calling to report everything from the power system, uh, cutting trees down and vandalizing her property, to her neighbor. Um, Trying to extort her out of millions of dollars, to you name it. And I think I finally said, we will not be going back down there if she calls. I don't care if it's if she's got a meteorite that's hit her house.
We should play this game more often. I'm talking about his second description. I'm like, I know exactly. That person don't even live in the city, but I know exactly who he's talking about.
So I was looking up this law, and if some people don't know that it is against the law to abuse 911,
That's correct.
and the TCA is 911 no 86-316, and it talks in here about the abusing 911, continuously calling it once the dispatcher or somebody has told you, listen, you don't call back. Don't call back. We had a guy years ago he was like a town drunk. This was when dispatch was over at the county. And Sherry Dixon can tell you exactly who he is. I can't remember his name. I think he was a car salesman or something. But he would get hammered on Saturday night, and he'd still be hammered Sunday morning. No, he would sing gospel hymns. She would answer 911. She'd say, 911, what's your emergency? And he'd just go to firing in. Yeah. You know, the old rugged cross. He knew them all.
Yeah.
And she'd tell him, she'd put it on intercom or speaker, and we'd listen to it and laugh for, a couple of minutes. And she'd tell me, you cannot call this no more. And he'd call back, and I think we finally did arrest him a couple of times for abusing it. But yeah, he would. I mean, that was his deal. Every Sunday morning, he called 911 to make sure we was getting our little bit of faith.
So I'm not as old as him. I don't have as many stories, but what I've noticed over the 20 years is the majority of people who call and misuse 911, the majority of the times they're really not taking up a lot of 911 time. But what they are doing is taking the chance of taking up time where there could actually be a really serious emergency coming in. And I think that's very important for the citizens out there to understand. This is not just another avenue that we go out and look to arrest somebody on. The reason we take it serious and we will come to your house very quickly and put you in cuffs is just for the simple fact that you've taken up time where there could have potentially been a true emergency come in.
So go a little further. While that is true, it takes up your time.
Oh,
so
true.
Now what I've done is I've taken one of my officers. If you've got 3 on or 4 on shift for the entire county or the entire city, now I've got one officer tied up dealing with a guy that's misusing 911. I've got a true emergency now.
Mm-hmm.
As a taxpayer in this community, and I don't get a service because I've got an officer tied up with someone who's abused 911, that's the reason we deal with folks who abuse 911.
Right. And we, just so our listeners understand, there's some things that will be like, we may give somebody a break on.
Yeah.
No, this is one thing that if you break this law, I don't care what time of day it is, we will come see you.
Yeah.
So what about employment? How many, have you got any vacancies right now?
I do not have any vacancies. We're fully staffed. Last week I was at CTO training, training officer training. I had 3 of my folks. I went with them to St. Louis and want to know what my folks are doing and what they're being taught. And so I went with them. And there were about 18 agencies represented in the room from all over, metropolitan all the way down to small little agencies. We were the only agency in the room out of 18 that was fully staffed. It's a crisis all across America with law enforcement and fire and EMS and 911. They have trouble finding folks to fill the positions. So we're blessed. I'm fully staffed at 18. Grateful for my folks. We got a few that,
You got anybody retiring soon? I got 2 retiring this year.
When she goes, my heart's just going to break. I'm going to just throw it out there. I ain't going to mention no names, but when she walks out the door apart.
She sent me a text last week, said, am I fired? And I said, we'll talk on Monday.
Don't do it. She is
Uh,
priceless.
I think I know you don't.
Yeah.
I think I know which one you're
Yeah.
talking about.
So well, she's working today though, but
Is
so
she?
she wasn't fired. But
She's a
um,
peach.
yeah, so yeah, fully staffed. We're blessed in that aspect. I've got 2 folks right now in training for part-time positions, and so Sherry Dixon, who you talked about, Sherry still works. I still get about 12 hours a month out of her in some part-time role,
She
and
couldn't stand it.
yeah,
She
no,
couldn't
so
stand it.
What
Had to
about
come back.
Doreen? Doreen come back
no,
Doreen.
Doreen.
I loved her as a dispatcher.
Doreen's not worked in several years, and and tonight praying for Doreen, her husband. He's had some health issues, and
Oh,
so,
yeah.
but we still hear from a lot of those old dispatchers from time to time, and keep up with with how they're doing and what's going on. So yeah, fully staffed, and excited about that. So
A funny story my daddy told me one time about you always treat your dispatchers right because they'll help you out in the long run. He told me a story about how they got just some random call to some random house, but for whatever, Barbara Crouch, Tony's mother, who was a dispatcher for 40 years. Daddy said he was halfway, en route, and then all of a sudden she just comes on the radio, doesn't even use his number, just calls him by name, and was like, "Ray, I ain't got a good feeling about this. I want you to be careful." And he said, it was stuff like that just stuck with him on how important these dispatchers are to him.
yeah,
And as a captain of a shift, one thing I've always implemented is I don't care if you think that dispatcher was a little snippy. I don't care if that
and we can be.
Oh, hey, listen, when
You
you're putting
talk
up with a
about one of
bunch of dumb cops,
You're
how
talking
can
about
you not be?
that's one of my pet peeves, and a matter of fact, that's something that when we're promoting somebody or hiring somebody, I question them about that because that's one of my pet peeves. And I don't listen to the radio all the time.
Yeah,
I
I don't
used to listen to it all the time when I first got elected. My radio it was never off, and it started to lead to some high cholesterol and blood pressure
Yes, sir.
issues, and it would just, I mean, you know how it is. You can be sitting there and calm and everything's great, and all of a sudden the radio key up and you hear the stress in somebody's voice, and then your heart goes through the roof. And I've got 60 something commissioned law enforcement guys, working for me between the jail and the SROs and patrol and everybody else. And man, it was too much. It was too much. Now I listen to it. I listen to it probably on the weekends. I mean, I'm never at the house, but I don't listen to it near as much as I used to. But I hark on your conduct on the radio.
Yeah.
No matter, I shouldn't be able to tell if you're mad, if you're sad, if you're scared, if you're excited. You should keep that professionalism, that professional conduct on the radio, no matter what. Can't stand that going back and forth. If I hear it, I'm calling one of my guys and I'm
Yeah.
gonna unload on them. I can't.
Same here. Again, there's no room for it.
Mm-mm.
I tell folks all the time. Somebody will call me and they're like, "Hey, what's so and so's problem tonight?" And I said, "Man, I don't have a clue. I'm at home and don't even have a radio on, so I don't. What happened? And so then I'll call in and I'll say, "Hey, what's your problem?" Well, and
Oh,
again, it's. But I tell folks all the time. Listen, as dispatch, we're always going to win.
Absolutely.
That's our motto. We're always going to win. And listen, it's not often that I sit in the chair and dispatch. If we're busy, I'll go in there and take some traffic and try to help from time to time. But I had an officer who will remain nameless. But one day, keyed up a couple times. Listen, we had a domestic going on. There was a wreck, and again, he was unaware of all that was going on, and he was trying to make a traffic stop. And he'd keyed up. About that second time he keyed up, the tone changed a little bit in his voice, and so I just hit that button and said, "Stand by," and his response back was not very nice. And so, listen, I just had all that. I jumped up and took my headset off and marched out the room, went and saw the supervisor who was working that day. And my girls came back. I came back in. The girls said, "Hey, are you okay? We've never seen you like that." And I said, "Do y'all deal with that often?" And they're like, "No, that was a rarity." And I said, "Okay, well, good. But so the rest of the night he kept getting calls for dogs chained up in the middle of the woods
Amen.
somewhere that he had to go find.
Right,
And
rightfully so.
and our motto is we always win.
Well, and let me tell you why that is. It's kind of like, have you ever came home and as soon as you walked through the door, the look on your wife's face told you what she's went through with your children that day?
You've never experienced that though.
Well,
She's watching.
no, you're right. So y'all probably understand. I'm clueless, but
You
anyway,
done dug the hole now. Go on ahead and finish it.
Yeah.
It's just like dispatch. Y'all have to deal with these cops all day long and every day. Of course, y'all gonna get a little snippy,
Well,
and if you do, we should be able to take it. So no, that's yeah.
Well, I have
we
a
better
one-sided.
not.
It's
I'm
one-sided.
with you.
I have a hard time, and I don't know if it's the radio in my vehicle. I probably need an external speaker or something because I can't understand anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a struggle for me, and I got pretty good hearing. I got my eyes are better, but and my hearing's mediocre. But no, I think it's the speaker. I think it's the speaker in my car radio, man, because it sounds like everybody's eating
Little-
mashed
yeah,
potatoes
yeah,
when
little muffled.
when they go back and forth on the radio, which I hark on my guys too, man. Some of them it sounds like they got the mic in their mouth. Some of them sounds like it's over there on the floor 12 feet away when they're talking. Some people are naturally loud, you know. They need to hold the mic down here. Some people, I got one, I think he whispers. I think maybe
Yeah.
he needs to be working for a 1-900 company. I don't know. But dadgum, it drives me crazy because because I got a button. I don't have a knob on that radio. So I'll be driving and I'll hear some traffic. So
Yeah.
I'll bump it up 5 or 6 clicks. And
I
I'm
know what's
still
coming.
like this
I
listening.
know what's coming.
And then the other deputy will key in that's so loud, and he'll say something, and my butt will come that high off the
Yeah,
seat because he
it'll get
scares
you.
the crap
Yeah.
out of me. Remember the Loretta officer that worked down there? What was his number? 90.
I'm gonna start naming numbers.
See, you narrow it down. 909. Remember 909? 909 would come on the 909 would come on the radio, man, and it would give you heart failure when he keyed up. A car, and these new cars have got the volume control that'll the faster you go, the higher the
Yeah,
volume will
that's right.
go. You remember? Why can't we have radios that does that? That'll automatically mute the loud ones down just a little bit and turn up the whispers.
Well, we get calls often. It says from an officer. It says, "Hey, y'all are way too loud."
Well, depending on which dispatch it is, you'll call or you won't call. 'Cause
Yeah.
again, you don't want that lecture of.
Well, but it's the same thing. I've got some that are soft spoken. I've got some
Oh,
that talk a little
yeah.
loud, and depending on who sat in the seat before them, they adjust the volume a little bit, and yeah, it happens. There's sometimes I'm going down the road, same thing, Sheriff, and I hear it and I'm thinking, what did they just say? And I'll pick up the phone and call in dispatch and say, what did they just say? It's hard to hear sometimes.
Yeah, it's my radio. I'm convinced it's my radio.
And that's funny because we are so much a family. It's in that thought just popped through my head. Depending on who it is, I mean, you'd be like, hey, you want to call dispatch and ask them this, and be like, I ain't calling her, you call her, and I'm like, I don't want to call her, you call her. But like you said, y'all went to a school, and out of the many agencies that was represented, y'all were the only one fully staffed, and I think a lot of bit of that has to do with the atmosphere. If things ain't right at home, then they ain't right at home.
Yeah, I'm with
And
you.
it's hard to keep people.
Yeah.
Pay is not always the issue. There's a lot of people who will take a little pay cut just to feel comfortable at home. And obviously you've got that going on at dispatch. And I'm not trying to fluff you up, but
Well,
you got a good group.
we got a great, and listen, we've built some great relationships. Listen, y'all guys come over. Once a quarter we'll have lunch over there, and we'll do a soup lunch or something, and all your deputies will come, and EMS will come, and fire will come, and
So we have to invite fire all the time.
yeah, listen,
You not notice the soup bowls
well that
70% gone whenever they go by?
but they get their feelings hurt so easy.
Do we have
they
to
watch
invite
this?
the fire?
Do they?
I don't know.
No,
do
they're
they?
probably sleeping.
Yeah,
right
I hear
now.
you.
Well,
Well,
I hope
anyway.
you don't ever run for anything. You just lost 400 votes.
No, they know I love them.
Yeah,
But yeah, we enjoy them get-togethers.
yeah, it's good times.
Yeah.
What do we got? What we got coming up? We're about, what are we, 6 minutes?
Well, hey, before you talk about what's coming up, one other thing 911 does that probably most folks don't have a clue. You go build a brand new house today,
Oh.
and you need an address.
Mm-hmm.
Where the heck do you go get an address at if you live in Lawrence County?
Why don't you tell them?
Do you know? Do you know?
Oh,
911.
911.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, everything is, the world's changing. We've gone all online now. You go through the website, LawrenceCountyTN.gov, and you go on there and you can request your address that way.
Do you still send somebody out personally to
We
be
do.
boots on the
So,
ground to do it?
You give all that information, and then typically I'm the one that goes out, and we'll measure your address from a pre-existing address, one that's already there, and we'll issue you your number. And by the way, we've got some address issues in the county. We've got roads that addresses are out of sync. We've got roads that we're out of addresses on, and we're going to have to get creative. And nobody wants to readdress. If I'm honest,
Right.
we saw that when bypass come through. That was a jumbulated mess. But yeah, so again, it costs $100 to get an address today. And we'll go out, we'll measure it out for you, and we'll call you back and give you your address, and we'll call the post office for you. We call LUS for you, or if you live north and you got Mount Pleasant Utilities, we call Mount Pleasant for you.
So this $100, do they pay dispatch? Do they pay the county budget and all?
They do.
Where do they bring the money?
It's
to?
online.
Oh, it's online.
Yeah, or we'll send you a link for you to be
Okay.
able to pay that, and yeah, we do that. And commercial. You can drive up to Etheridge right now. They're building. They tore down the old Louisiana up there and building a new strip mall up there. And
What's Louisiana?
oh, it's right
Well,
there.
it used to be the Amish Country Galleries. It was a restaurant, the Louisiana. It's
Years
right
ago.
before Sharp Transport. When was the last time you went up 43 North, James?
Well, when's the last time Louisiana's was open?
Well,
man?
probably when you was a kid.
It was a long
yeah,
time.
I'm sorry. I was
Dadgum, man. You haven't seen all the blocks going up?
Yeah.
It's going to be.
So it's where the new construction is now.
Yeah, the old Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and but yeah, so
We're moving fast. Well,
yeah,
you
we
gotta
do
keep
commercial
up.
addressing. So, and you got the Amish population that can't get online and request an address. So they'll come down to the office and we'll get their information. We go out and take care of those folks. So yeah, we're your addressing agency. So
Nice.
we get you an address. if
When you
need it.
said the bypass,
You got
What?
3 minutes.
3.5.
yeah. Well, I mean, what do y'all contribute the amount of wrecks on the east side of the bypass? The Prosser Road, the Wesley Chapel, the intersection of
Well-
Old Pulaski Highway and the 4-lane. What?
So listen, I got a 16-year-old that's driving now, and the love bug I think is attempting to strike him a little bit, and the young lady that is the love bug lives out Old Florence, so we gotta go out Farver Road. So I've taken him out there a couple of times, and man, you pull up there and it's clear as can be both ways. The deal is, I'm not so sure that folks aren't trying to. It's almost like Frog. Blake won't know what Frogger is, but when we were kids, we played
Shoot it.
Atari.
Yeah, shoot
and
it across.
You try to shoot across, and you can't do that. And so again, the safe way is you look. If you're gonna go straight across, you look to your left when it's clear. You go to the median and stop, and then you make sure it's clear and go. But down through there, it's pretty clear.
I don't know. It seems like
well, it's
we've
a
had
bunch.
more
Yes, we
fatalities
have.
right there.
Yes, it may not be as many, but they just seem worse.
They seem worse.
I
That's
think
the problem.
That's what it is. That is a tricky situation or tricky location.
Yeah.
Through there.
Well, Chad, glad you come by.
Man, I'm honored. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks for sitting in and putting up with Blake. And,
I'm just glad he got here.
Yeah, maybe.
it's his norm these days. I mean,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, this is the first tardy I've had since I've been there. You should have seen me the first time I had it for 30 minutes by myself.
Yeah.
I bet I was like 1,500 times maybe.
Well-
So what did you want to tell us? before we
Well,
go?
nothing. Was just going to see what we had here over the next few weeks. I mean, we got Juneteenth coming up tomorrow or Thursday. That's a day. That's a day off, right?
Yes,
right.
sir.
That's now a federal holiday. We're having our Sheriff's Deputy Appreciation Day Saturday. That was something that me and the county mayor sat down and we drew up a proclamation, made it official. It's a county holiday now for me just appreciating my guys.
Sounds pretty good. Sure.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was. I mean, yeah. What do y'all got this week? Anything major going on?
Right now, I don't know. What
Yeah,
what
no,
do we
I don't
got
know.
that going on that's major?
Listen, I've been out of town 2 weeks, and dead period's coming up for high school athletics, so we're gonna get out of town again for a week. But we're rolling. they had a big rodeo or big deal, something at the fairgrounds last week, and Abigail's Plans got their bulls and barrels coming up. There's a lot happening community wide.
Always, man.
always
Lawrence
something going
County. There's
on.
always something going on in
Yeah.
Lawrence County. If you get bored in Lawrence County, you need to fix something. There's always something
Always
going
something
on.
going on.
There's a
Mhm.
community club event. There's something at Rotary. There's
Barbecue judging.
There's always.
Biggest sham I've ever heard in my life. He always gets to
You didn't
judge
you,
barbecue.
you didn't forget about
No,
that.
I
I
didn't.
love that.
Every
Are you got a team gonna be in the wing cooking at Loretta?
You know, I got an invite for
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
We're gonna put together a team.
I'm in
we're
it.
Gonna go cook wings.
yeah, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm in it.
You cooking wings?
no, I told him next time something like that came up, I'd just like a friendly shout out. I put in this time for free. Least he can do is let me go eat some wings.
Well, I think the
Tell me
Lions
We'll
about
put a
Club-
team together.
Yeah,
Oh.
McMaster's Lions Club in Loretta's gonna do that. So I'll shoot you the
that. My
information.
feelings are hurt. Say bye.
All right, bye, y'all.
Thanks.